Hello everyone and welcome to the Sciences Po Live broadcast dedicated to the Master in Environmental Policy offered at the Sciences Po Paris School of International Affairs. My name is Adrien Kennett and I serve as Marketing and Recruitment Manager at Sciences Po. I'm truly delighted that so many of you are able to be with us today. So whichever part of the world you are connected from today, welcome to you all and thank you for being with us. We are here to give you the most up-to-date information on the Master in Environmental Policy. To do so, several guests are with me today. In this studio by my side is Arshad Hanem. Thank you for being with us. You're the academic advisor of the Master in Environmental Policy. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for the invitation.
And we also have four other guests who are with us remotely, obviously not in this studio. Antoine, Juliana, Shriya, thank you for being with us. The three of you are students and graduates of the Master in Environmental Policy. We'll get back to you in just a moment. And we also have Céline Cantat, who is the director of the CARE program, a program addressed to the students of the Master in Environmental Policy. We'll be with you in just a few minutes. Now, to you viewers watching us live on YouTube, should you have any question at this point, you can ask your questions in the chat box of this YouTube live session. Our guests will be more than happy to answer a few of those questions in the second part of this broadcast. Now let's get started. And my first question goes to Arshad Hanem. Arshad, thank you again for being with us. The Master in Environmental Policy is one of 8 masters offered at the Sciences Po Paris School of International Affairs, also known as PSIA. What are the academic objectives of the Master?
Thank you again, Adrien, for giving us the opportunity to present the Master. So our Master in Environmental Policy, it aims at preparing future policymakers, project managers, analysts, auditors of environmental issues at a global level, and it does so while taking a cutting-edge approach to environment. So it looks at environmental issues from both a social science and an earth science perspective.
And what are the main subjects taught within the Master in Environmental Policy?
So first of all, it's really important to acknowledge the multidisciplinarity of our program. Economics, science, policy are of course very important features, and these are courses that are taught from the very first semesters, and then in later stages students are also equipped with the policy tools and the tools for understanding environmental governance. And of course, they have the opportunities to focus on subtopics such as water governance, biodiversity conservation, climate change, mitigation, and adaptation.
It's a multidisciplinary program. It's a 2-year master's program. How are the 2 years of the program organized?
So in the first 2 semesters, students have the opportunity to choose several courses out of our core blocks in environmental economics, environmental science, policy, finance, management, climate, governance. So in the first year, they can get an expertise on the topics they are the most interested in environmental governance. Then during the 3rd semester, there is what we call the semestre hors les murs. It is a semester that is dedicated to professionalization through an internship or a master thesis or a student exchange.
The program is offered to an international audience. What is the language of instruction of the Master in Environmental Policy?
Most of the courses are taught in English, but there are also some courses in French. However, French is not a requirement to attend our courses.
Thank you for this first overview of the Master in Environmental Policy, Arshad. Now let's have a chat with Antoine. Antoine, thank you very much for being with us. You are a first-year dual degree student in Environmental Science and Policy with Sorbonne Université. You are enrolled in the Master in Environmental Policy. You have a truly scientific profile since you've been studying physics since your undergraduate education, and you still study physics at the French École Normale Supérieure Paris-Saclay. Antoine, what made you choose the Sciences Po Master in Environmental Policy?
Well, first, thank you for inviting me again. And as you said, I studied climate through physical and chemistry, so theoretical and hard sciences in a way. And I wanted to go into the political implementations of that scientific facts that I studied previously. And I wanted to understand more deeply what are the links between this theoretical work and how it goes practically in international organizations, for instance.
You started the program in the fall 2024 intake. Do you have a favorite class so far?
Yeah, during the last semester, I took a lecture by Marco Catile on natural resources and human rights. And in a way, I found it really interesting because international law have really in common with hard sciences in the rigorous methods. And I wanted to know more about how human rights are ensured, and in this way, I really love this class.
You mentioned how you have a scientific profile. You did study physics prior to joining the master. How does the program articulate position on topics relevant to scientific issues and to governance and policy issues?
Well, during the first year, I had the opportunity to take a lot of lectures and seminars. There are two kinds. First, there are lectures that are about physics and chemistry, ocean, climate, at a very basic level, I would say, but it gives me some important information on how it is linked with practical and political implementation. And there are also other courses about how governance is linked to that, but from more governance perspective in different fields such as polar regions, oceans, and others.
Thank you very much, Antoine. Now, hopefully, viewers watching us live today are future applicants to the program. Would you have an advice to give to an applicant willing to join the program next year?
Well, I would advise them to find out about the subjects and the courses of which is on the website, and particularly I would advise you to show in your applications that your project is coherent with what you want to do after in your professional career. And basically, I didn't have any previous knowledge on economy nor political sciences, but I showed in my application that Sciences Po would be an essential step in my studies for that.
Thank you very much, Antoine, for your testimonial. We'll get back to you in just a moment. Now, back to Ariad in the studio. Ariad, as we said, hopefully viewers are future applicants to the program. What is a typical Master in Environmental Policy applicant? What type of students are you looking for?
Well, I'm not sure actually that there is one typical applicant for our Master in Environmental Policy. Our Master attracts a very wide range of applicants from different countries, from different academic backgrounds. Some of our applicants, just like Antoine, come from an engineering background and they want to know more about the policy processes, the political aspects of environmental governance. Some others, they come from earth or environmental sciences, and many, of course, come, from social, political sciences or international relations. There is no disciplinary prerequisite to apply for our master, because we really think that if our applicants are excellent in their domain, then they are perfectly fit for our program. So that's one thing. And the other, just like Antoine said, the motivation, of course, towards the program and a clear career project in the field of environmental policy.
You mentioned how students come from a very wide range of academic backgrounds. What are the size of cohorts and how international are they?
So we have generally around 110 students per year in our master. Again, we are very happy with the diversity of our cohorts. It really adds something not only to the student life, but also to the classroom and the pedagogical spaces, thanks to all the interactions, the very rich interactions that our students and our profs may have.
Let's talk about innovation in teaching methods. What are the teaching methods like? What is the proportion of lectures, seminars, group projects?
Well, the first thing that our potential future applicants should acknowledge is that in our program, our teachers, some of them are academics, so they come from academia, some of them authored IPCC reports, for example, and the other part are practitioners. They come from UN agencies, international NGOs, so it's really important for us to have both perspectives. In general, our courses follow the seminar format, so we have groups between 15, 20, 25 students in the class to favorize interactions, but students may also have a few bigger lectures as well. And we really think that the classroom should be a space where also students can discuss their professional projects and also work on professionalizing experiences, group works, policy briefs, capstone projects, etc.
Thank you very much, Achiad. Now let's welcome Juliana. Juliana, thank you for being with us. You are a second-year student enrolled in the Master in Environmental Policy. You are originally from Germany. You studied English, Sociology, and Political Science at JLU University in Germany prior to joining the Master. What made you choose the Sciences Po Master in Environmental Policy?
Thank you very much for having me today. So climate change and sustainable development were always very central interests of me. And I focused in my bachelor's degree already in the part on political science on international affairs. And during my Erasmus in Ireland at the UCC, I almost took entirely classes linked to environmental policy. So I specifically searched for a master's in environmental policy afterwards, and the Sciences Po convinced me with the international and interdisciplinary approach.
And you'll graduate from the program by the end of the school year. Do you, just like your classmate, schoolmate Antoine, have a favorite class?
I think it's very difficult to pick because the classes are so different, they're very diverse. But I think specifically for someone like me who does not have a strong natural science background, I enjoyed a class on modeling environmental policy and decision making because it really brought across the scientific background to environmental catastrophes and also to climate change for me. And it did so in a fun and easy way. So that's nice for someone who has not focused on natural sciences before. I also really liked having classes with other master students from other masters. So for example, I had one class together with the master students of the human rights master's degree on indigenous territorial rights and environmental rights in Latin America. And I really enjoyed just learning from people who've chosen a different concentration, different focus in their studies as well. So that's really nice.
You mentioned classes. Now let's talk about professional experience. You did your third semester internship at the OECD Nuclear Energy Agency. What was your position and what was your work about?
So during the semester outside of the university, the 6 months, I was at the OECD as an intern working on projects aimed at enhancing human and environmental safety in the nuclear sector. And I worked specifically on a project focused on Switzerland and safety culture in Switzerland for these 6 months. And then I stayed on as a junior policy analyst. And at the moment, I'm working mainly on a workshop that's actually going to take place in Brussels next week, focused on risk governance in different high-risk sectors. So it's an interdisciplinary approach, and it's co-hosted by the French government and the Joint Research Center of the European Commission.
And you're almost done with the program. Do you already have an idea of the sector or the position you wish to work at after graduation?
So my concentration in my master's degree was sustainable agriculture and food, and I would like to work in that area afterwards as well. And I'm specifically interested in the research policy interface.
Final and same question we asked Antoine. Do you have an advice to give to an applicant willing to join the program next year?
Yes, so I would say it's really good to check previously what kind of concentration you would like to pick, because it really shapes your master's degree, and there's many different opportunities. I would say in terms of the application, it's good to highlight that you have a well-rounded profile. And if you have the chance to go to Sciences Po, try and take some extra credits, learn some languages, programming languages, take a class in public speaking. These are all great opportunities for you. And as was mentioned before as well, we have some classes that are taught in English. Most of our classes are taught in English, but we have some classes that are taught in French as well. So it's great to also take some classes in another language if you're interested in that.
Thank you very much, Juliana, for your testimonial and advice to future applicants to the program. Now, final series of questions to Ariad Ramen. Ariad, Juliana mentioned professional experience. How do graduates enter the job market?
Thank you for your question, Adrien. Actually, our numbers show quite a great performance of our graduates on the job market because, for example, more than 80% of our former students secure a job in the 6 months after they graduate. Of course, this is thanks mostly to the third semester experience. We heard Juliana's, that was very interesting, and as you heard, her third semester experience actually ended up creating the opportunity for a contract, and she's now still a junior policy analyst at her organization.
And how do you prepare students for such good professional projects and results?
So I mentioned the third semester, which is the professionalizing one, but it's not all. Of course, our courses are designed to help students make up their professional projects and work towards their project. We are here also to advise them. They have their academic advisor. They have also a specific PSIA career manager who is here to really help them figure out what their professional project is, and we help them choosing their courses, tailoring their program, aligning with their professional aspirations. They can also attend workshops, career fairs, and they benefit also from a very wide networks of PSIA alumni.
Juliana mentioned working for the OECD. In what sectors and what organizations are graduates recruited?
What we see from our graduates is that they don't work in one single sector. Some of them work in the public sector at a local, regional, national level. Some of them work in ministries of foreign affairs or environmental transition. Some of them work in international organizations, UN agencies, the OECD, for example. Some of them work in international NGOs, and many of them as well work in the private sector in consulting firms on environmental issues, for example.
So graduates work in a very wide range of sectors and organizations. Thank you very much, Ariad. Now let's welcome Shriya. Shriya, thank you for being with us. You are a 2023 graduate from the Master in Environmental Policy. You are originally from India, and you did your undergraduate studies in engineering at Birla Institute of Technology and Science in Pilani, India. You now work as senior associate at PwC consulting firm in Copenhagen, Denmark, and you did previously work at EY consulting firm. What made you want to work in consulting, and what is your work about?
Thank you firstly for having me. So I think for me, I wanted a fast-paced environment when it came to work, and consulting really gives you that opportunity to work in very diverse environments, and that drew me to it quite a lot. Additionally, I also wanted to work with several different sectors in order to get an understanding how different sectors and different industries work with sustainability. And as a consultant, you get the opportunity to work with a lot of different companies, different projects, different aims, and that was very, very exciting to me. My current work right now, so I work a lot with auditing sustainability data. So that comprises a lot of my work. And then on the other side, I also do a lot of advisory work, which is more along the lines of decarbonization and also a lot of work on human rights. So that's what my current work profile looks like.
You graduated 2 years ago from the Master in Environmental Policy in 2023. Do you have a best memory as a Master in Environmental Policy student at Sciences Po?
That's a very difficult question because there were so many, but I think the one thing or the bunch of experiences that I took away with me the most is the kind of seminars that we had and the kind of guests we had in the university who spoke about their careers and their professional expertise. I believe it's very important to know how sustainability and policy works when it's actually executed in different domains, and getting that insight from all these professionals was very, very helpful. I remember there was one seminar in which the administrator of EPA visited Mr. Michael Regan, I think was his name. And I think that was one of the most poignant memories of me because I learned a lot from his perspective on how everything works when it comes to actually executing things that we have learned in our masters.
Thank you, Shreya. Apart from learning a lot, as you said, from the program, what contributions did the program make to your career?
I think Sciences Po has such a wide alumni network, and we get a lot of opportunities to interact with them and network with them, and that's extremely valuable. Not only because you get to have these networks who can then help you build your professional project, but also just to get an insight on how all these different professions work. So that was extremely valuable. I also think that there is a very wide range of courses available, so you can pick and choose courses that can stir your career in whichever way you want it to. And that I think was also extremely helpful for me and to build my professional project.
You said how you progressively developed a strong interest for consulting. What were the stages, the different stages of building your professional project during your studies at Sciences Po?
Mm-hmm. I think the first was to select courses that really intrigue me, and I would recommend that to anyone who's going to join Sciences Po. That because there's such a wide variety available, you have to pick courses that you really like, but then also look at them from the perspective of how they can be applied in the industry you want to work in. So that is somewhere where I try to think about my courses and try to see how I can apply them from a consulting perspective and if they were applicable. The second thing was also talking to the professors. We have a lot of professors who work in the industry or also international organizations, but have experience working with industry and consulting firms who can give you a lot of good insight into how to enter the industry, but then also how to work well in it. So I had a lot of interactions with a lot of professors who helped me quite a bit to understand how it would look like going ahead, and I took all of that knowledge when it came to applying for jobs and also now working within consulting.
Shriya, you applied to the Master in Environmental Policy as an international student from India. Do you have an advice to future international applicants and students on building their professional project during their studies in France?
Absolutely. I think the one thing that I played a big role in the way I approached my job search was the language restrictions that come with if you're an international student and don't know French. So I think you should really assess what your level of proficiency is when it comes to the French language. If you are at an intermediate level, I would recommend working on bringing it up to a professional working level so that you a lot of different avenues of jobs open up in France itself. But if that is not something that you think you can accomplish in the course of 2 years, then I would also recommend broadening your job search, not just to France, but outside of France early on. The other thing I would recommend is that Sciences Po makes a lot of resources available. It's not just professors, but it's also you can get your CV vetted. You can have a lot of different resources given by Sciences Po that have more knowledge about how to apply for jobs. So make use of that and really capitalize on all these insights that you get. And finally, be patient with yourself. It takes time. I started my job search quite early on. It was as soon as January, and I got the job that I wanted to do in June. So it takes time. Don't be hard on yourself. Be patient, and it will work out.
Thank you so much, Shriya, for such a great testimonial and advice to applicants and international students. Now let's welcome our final guest, Céline Canta. Céline, thank you for being with us. You are the director of the CARE program, a program addressed to the students of the Master in Environmental Policy. First question, Céline, what is the CARE program and how is it linked to the Master in Environmental Policy?
Thank you very much for having me and giving me the opportunity to present the CARE program. So CARE stands for Climate Adaptation, Resilience and Empowerment. So it's obviously connected to the themes and topics of the Master in Environmental Policy. It's an innovative initiative which we recently launched at PSIA. And to be quick, its main aim is to shape the next generation of climate conscious leaders. It's led by PSIA, but it's actually anchored in a partnership between Sciences Po and 3 leading Canadian universities, the universities of British Columbia, of Toronto, and of Guelph. And it wants to equip students from the participating university with the skills, with the knowledge that will allow them to really become agents of change in the climate space and to address the triple crisis of climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. So the idea is to foster cross-cultural exchange, evidence-based policy making, and community building in the space of climate action and sustainability.
You mentioned the partnership with 3 Canadian universities. Does it mean that only Canadian students benefit from the CARE program?
Absolutely not. So the CARE program does offer scholarships to Canadian students who are admitted into the Master in Environmental Policy, and in fact also to the Master in International Energy Transitions at PSIA. Those are indeed scholarships for Canadian students, but all the other activities and opportunities which the CARE program deploys throughout the academic year are open to all the students in environmental policy. And in fact, many of them are also open to students from all the other masters at PSIA. This means courses, projects, events, etc. There is also within the CARE program opportunities for French students who want to study in Canada to apply for scholarships to study in masters related to the CARE themes in our partner institutions.
So you did describe the CARE program. Could you tell us what the resources the program provides?
Of course, so there is a broad range of diverse resources. I mentioned the scholarships, those are one. We also have what we call mobility fellowships. So those are supporting students who work on themes and topics or projects related to the CARE program with their third semester project or experience. It can be support for their internship, for their master's thesis, or even for a study exchange. We organize many events, workshops, seminars, summer schools in the area of climate adaptation, resilience, and in the area of sustainability. We give students the opportunities to attend courses from our partner institutions, so students can audit courses at the Canadian universities we work with. We put a big emphasis as well on networking and mentorship. So we try to create spaces to bring together students, alumni, but also practitioners and experts, and to build community and knowledge exchange around our topics. We also have, as I mentioned earlier, a big focus on leadership. And we're just about to launch the first edition of the CARE Climate Leadership Program, where again we try to further equip participating students with skills and knowledges to not only bring about change, but also to transition into the careers that they wish to work towards in the sectors that they have identified.
Thank you very much, Céline Cantat, for this presentation of the CARE program addressed to the students of the Master in Environmental Policy. Now is the time for our Q&A session. Thank you very much, dear viewers, for the many questions you've been asking in the chat box of this YouTube live session. And here is the first question from our viewers, a question for Ariad. Ariad, let me read out loud the question for you. A key aspect of any master's program is finding the right balance between academic knowledge and hands-on experience. How does the Master in Environmental Policy combine theory and practice? Are there concrete collaborations with institutions or businesses that allow students to apply what they learn?
Thank you so much for your question. It's a really important question. As I said earlier, this is really how we try to build our program and our academic project here at PSIA. So the classroom is the first space for such interactions between theory and practice. So we really encourage our courses not to be vertical lectures, but not only lectures, but also interactions, discussions on also first-hand material, reports. Our students are also encouraged sometimes by their teachers to take part in projects with a company, an organization. Some of our teachers had, for example, last semester a project in which their students were enrolled, and in the end of the semester they had to present their conclusion at the International Energy Agency. This is just one example of the fact that we really try to have an experience that goes from the academic to the professional world. And just a word on our second year, because our second year starts with the third semester, which is generally our students do an internship, but some of them also can also write a master thesis or do a student exchange. And they come back for our last semester of studies, which is a little particular because, of course, our students come with more baggage in terms of professional experience. And so the courses are really built and designed for students to refine their professional skills and get ready for the job market.
Thank you very much, Ariad. Thank you so much. Now a question for Antoine. Antoine, let me read the question out loud for you. Many students with a similar background as you, a scientific background, since you studied and still are studying physics, Antoine, many students with a similar background as you might be worried about transitioning to a program in social and political sciences. What advice would you give them?
Well, I would advise them not to be too worrying about that because, how to say that? These are really different fields, obviously, from physics, chemistry, and natural sciences. But as Arya said, there are a lot of group projects and there are a lot of seminars and lectures that are taught by practitioners. And so we can learn a lot by studying with others. And in your class, obviously, there will be other persons that have already studied in these fields. So it's really not a problem. And I would say that when you study hard sciences, you have that plus that you can give to others while learning a lot from them.
Great. Thank you so much, Antoine. Now a question for Juliana. Juliana, second year student in the Master in Environmental Policy. A question about your choice of concentrations. Concentrations are a big component of the curriculum of PSIA students. How did you choose your concentrations?
So I chose the concentration environment and sustainability, as well as my second concentration agriculture and food, as I already mentioned. And I think for the environment and sustainability part, many students did it the same way as me. We just wanted to enhance the master's core curriculum a little bit to learn even more about the most central topics for environmental policy. And for agriculture and food, I chose this because to me, it's really an incredibly central key element to environmental governance. When we're looking at GHG emissions, we're looking at land use change, biodiversity loss, but also social issues of environmental justice, distributional topics, and sufficiency-linked issues. I really just thought it would bring all of these issues really well together. So that's how I chose my concentrations.
Thank you very much, Juliana. A question to Shriya about your professional project evolution while at Sciences Po. How did your professional project evolve during your 2 years of studies? Did you always want to work as a consultant, or has your project evolved over time? How did your studies contribute to that evolution?
I think my project evolved quite a bit over time. So when I joined, my concentrations were environment and sustainability and then diplomacy. And the reason behind choosing those concentrations was that the initial aim was to work in international organizations. And I did my 6-month internship in my third semester at the UN Environment Program, which gave me an insight into how it would look like if I were to work in the places that I once aimed to work at. And that's when I realized that I wanted something which was a little more fast paced, and I also wanted something in which I would get the opportunity to work with different industries, as I said earlier. So I think having this internship opportunity also gave me an idea about how it would actually look like, and not just what I had thought in my head, and that helped me evolve my professional project quite a bit. And then in the last semester, I made sure to take courses with professors that would then help me transition better into the corporate world, into the consulting world, which also included courses that will help me maybe understand legislations a bit more, because that comes very handy when you have to be in the consulting firms. So just picked courses in the last semester based on the understanding that I had gotten about my professional project during the internship.
Thank you very much, Shriya. Our information session is now coming to an end. Thank you very much, Ayad.
Thank you.
Antoine, Juliana, Shriya, and Céline for participating. Thank you very much, dear viewers, for attending. We hope that we were able to answer all the questions you had on the Master in Environmental Policy, and we hope to see you again soon at Sciences Po. Thank you very much, and goodbye.